how well are you playing compared to how well you can play?
I don't think I'm playing as well as I can for sure, and um, but I've also learned, it's never as far off as you think. Keep plugging away, get a little bit of momentum, and I think I'll be fine. I think same goes for us as a group. We all need to. Sorry about that. We all need to, do our part. Just be a little bit better, a little bit tighter across the board. But I have a lot of confidence that we will, and we're going to do that moving forward.
Matt, you've done this a long time. You know what a team is prepared and when it's not. So one, have you felt prepared to start the last two games? And if you have, why have they unfolded the way they have?
Yeah,
I mean the offense as a whole.
Yeah, I think sometimes, when you think about performance, there's result in preparation, right? And so sometimes you fall into the category of the preparation's good, the result is good. Sometimes your preparation's bad and the result is good. Sometimes your preparation's good and the result is bad. And I think we've been a little bit of pretty good preparation, but just not the results that we want. And so when you're in situations like that, I think you have to have the mental toughness to stay with it and to really evaluate, hey, what are the 2-3 things individually that I can do better, that's going to help us improve across the board. And I think guys have had a good mindset for that this week. There's no doubt about it. We've got to get it corrected. Our performance hasn't been good enough the first couple of weeks, and we know that. But I also think we've got a tough group of guys, a proud group of guys. That are all introspective, and thinking about what they can do to help us, play better as a unit. I don't think it's major. It's not major changes. It's heightened focus on the details. I talk all the time with our guys about being brilliant in the basics, and not getting bored with them. Because over and over you've got to fall back on that in critical situations, and so. I think we're going to do that. I really do. I think we've had a good start to the week, and I'm confident we'll play better this Sunday.
Frank said the gap from where you all need to be and where you all are currently at isn't that far. How much ownership do you take in helping to close that, and how do you help people maybe not feel as big as it felt after that game?
Yeah, I think there's the old adage, it's never as good, it's never as bad. When you go back and you watch the tape of the game. And there are positives in there. There are good plays, across the board to be made. I think more so than anything, we've got to consistently do it. Play in, play out. Drive in, drive out, quarter to quarter, and ultimately game to game. And I just think we've been inconsistent. And so I think you just you continue to focus on doing your job, the best you can, and owning that, owning your responsibility on each play. And I think if we do that across the board, we're going to be fine.
With the inconsistencies, not pointing fingers, but when there's leakage in protection or the run game getting more, how hard is it to sustain the offense?
I think, certainly we've got to do a better job across the board. Myself protecting it. We've got to be better up front. We've got to be better on the outside. But we take pride. We've got a really proud group up front, guys that have been playing at a high level for a long time, in this league, and I just have belief that we've got the right makeup. The guys that the guys have the right stuff in them, and frankly, sometimes in this league, sometimes you just have one of those days, and I know it gets magnified here, and I'm not as familiar with it, but the entire situation of playing down there and all that comes with that. So you got to flush it, all the good teams I've been on too, I've gotten their ass kicked at some time, throughout the year. It's how you respond, and the measure of who we're going to be as a team is not last week. The measure of who we are going to become as a team is how we respond to situations like last week, and I have confidence we will.
And that's quarterback, running back, offensive line, that's defense.
That's every person in this building, and I think across the board, collectively, we have not been good enough. And again, I go back to what Frank kind of talked about it on Monday. we each individually have to look at the things we can do better. And I know our group is doing that.
During training camp, you were asked about leadership and being tough, and someone asked you something like, how do you be tough? And you said something along the lines of, you stick their foot up their ass. How many asses did you stick your foot up?
Yeah, I think I've also said, I think that's taken out of context a little bit. If you had heard the entire quote, it's sometimes, sometimes they need a lot of love too. And sometimes you need to put your arm around them. And sometimes people do need a foot up their ass. And so, to me, it's individual. You have to know the guys that you're around. You have to know what led to some of the mistakes that we made. And so there is, a sense of, at certain times, you do get on guys, and.
But have you, is what I'm asking you.
Absolutely.
This week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I think it's one of those things that, again, I tend to always keep those things private, and I'll continue to do that. But yeah, I think there is a level of love that you need to give out, and there's a level of tough love that you need to give out.
Matt, you said there's no drastic changes. It doesn't feel like you need any drastic changes that have to be made. Have you ever been a part of a team this early in the season where you can kind of sense like something big does have to happen?
Again, I don't think it's big things. And yes, I have been a part of a team that, part of teams that have lost early in the season and gone on to have, really successful years. I think back to, 2010. I think in Atlanta we played in Pittsburgh and got smashed by the Steelers in Game 1, and then had a home field advantage throughout the playoffs. The year we went to the Super Bowl, we lost our first game, and bounced back. I think we were like 4-4, something like that. Pretty early in the season, or 5-3, somewhere along those lines. So all the teams go through different points in the season where it's tough, and you've got to come together. You've got to get things corrected, and I think we can do it as a group.
The biggest difference with this one seems to be that this is a new team for you, and some of these guys that plays that aren't working, you haven't had those foundational plays work a lot in the past. So how do you go about building those, in moments like this when there's nothing to lean on yet, to building those foundational plays that you can lean on?
I think you get back to work on the practice field. It starts there. We always talk about taking it from the meeting room to the practice field to the game. And so we've got to get back out onto the practice field today, kind of work through some of those staples, tighten things up. I think, sometimes in these type of situations, you keep it tight, you keep it simple, and you cut out some of the thinking. And, I think we've, started off the week the right way and are in a good space today. But we get back to work on the practice field.